What if doing everything right still isn't enough? You work hard, you plan smart, you climb higher, and still you fall. But what if I told you this wasn't the end? This was the beginning of a philosophy that would dominate human thought for over 2,000 years. This actually happened to a merchant named Zeno of Citium. And what he did after losing everything changed human history forever. Here is how he did it. Rewind to 300 BCE. Zeno was a wealthy merchant from Cyprus, sailing a cargo of expensive purple dye toward Athens. Then the sea turned on him. His ship broke apart. Everything he owned, gone in minutes. He crawled onto the shore of Athens, the intellectual capital of the ancient world, with nothing. With nothing left to lose, he wandered into a bookshop and picked up a scroll about Socrates. Something in him ignited. He sought out Athens' greatest thinkers, studied under them one by one, until eventually he started teaching students of his own. This is where Stoicism was born, named after the Stoa Poikile, the painted porch where Zeno and his followers gathered every day to argue about how to live. Today, Stoic just means calm under pressure. But that word barely scratches the surface of what he actually built. The Stoics believed the universe runs on cause and effect, a rational order they called logos. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. They built their lives around 4 cardinal virtues: practical wisdom, navigating chaos with a clear head; temperance, restraint in everything; justice, fairness, even to those who wronged you; courage, not just in crisis, but in the grind of daily life. Seneca, one of Rome's great Stoics, put it simply: sometimes even to live is an act of courage. And despite its focus on self-mastery, Stoicism was never selfish. In an empire where slaves were legally property, Seneca demanded they be treated with humanity, because underneath everything, we all share the same nature. One of history's most famous Stoic writers wasn't just a philosopher, he was the most powerful man alive, Marcus Aurelius. For 19 years, Stoicism was the armour that let him lead Rome through 2 brutal wars, while burying his own children, one after another. In private, he wrote himself notes just to stay sane. Those notes became Meditations, one of the most read books in human history. Nearly 2,000 years later, that same book found its way into a prison cell in South Africa, Nelson Mandela. Through 27 years behind bars fighting for racial equality, the words of a dead Roman emperor kept him standing. When he finally walked free, he chose peace over revenge, believing the past couldn't be undone, but the future could still be built. Stoicism died out as a formal school, but it never actually disappeared. Christian theologians like Thomas Aquinas borrowed its focus on virtue. And centuries before Buddhism ever reached the West, scholars noticed a strange parallel. between the Stoic idea of ataraxia and the Buddhist concept of nirvana. One of the most influential Stoics wasn't even a free man. Epictetus was born a slave, and he wrote the line that would echo through the next 2 millennia. It's not events that disturb people, it's their judgments about events. That single sentence became the foundation of REBT, modern cognitive therapy used by millions today. And it became the backbone of logotherapy, developed by Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the Nazi concentration camps by discovering that even there, meaning was still a choice. A shipwrecked merchant, a grieving emperor, a political prisoner, a camp survivor. Different centuries, different chains, same discovery. You can't choose what happens to you, but you can always choose what you do next. Zeno's shipwreck took everything from him, and somehow that became the foundation for a philosophy that still holds up 2,300 years later. So ask yourself, is there a moment in your life that felt like total ruin, but quietly became the foundation of who you are right now? Because maybe the real question was never, why did this happen to me? It was always, what am I going to do about it? Rock bottom was never the end. It was day one.